Well, hello there, everybody. Super Miles EO here, but you know that already. Here for another Logic session, a Logic session breakdown. It's been a minute since we done one, probably about 2 months. I think the last one was in March, and it is now June, early June, and we're getting back into this. And I think we're gonna knock out the rest of this album in the coming weeks. So let's get right into it. But I do have a couple things to say. First of all, let me take these off for a quick second. I've got some new glasses here. Pretty cool. These are my old ones right here. I just, it's been a minute. My prescription's changed a little bit. And I don't know. I don't know if I dig that style anymore. So I can at last see the world in 4K or what have you. Second thing, it is, of course, early June, which means if you're following the Jesse Volume 4 World Tour, North America Tour of course, Jacob Collier, you will know that he was just recently in my home city of Nashville, Tennessee. And you bet your biggest dollar that I was there. And in fact, I didn't know this when I bought tickets. I don't really go to concerts. I don't really enjoy them that much. Even if I like the artist, it's just not. Oops. It's just not really my thing. But of course, this was Jacob Collier. I had to make an exception. So I bought like the VIP tickets slash experience, like a little sound check thing. And I was front row center. I kid you not, dead center in the front row. I did not know that. I thought I was going to be like second or third. I didn't really know how the seating chart worked, but I really lucked out there. And I got this little tote bag, Jesse World Tour. It's got a few little trinkets in here. A signed Logic Session print of Bridge Over Troubled Water. Very cool. This was separate. This was a bucket hat that I bought. I won't put it on now, but it is very fun to wear. And then this little finger piano, tuned in, of course, roughly a C scale, give or take, and some Jesse guitar picks. So that's very fun. But of course, the merch is not the main attraction. Let me tell you, it did. I felt like I was not on planet Earth. This camera. Sorry, it likes to do this thing where it thinks I want my face to be out of focus. Beyond me. It felt like I left planet Earth for a couple hours. If you are a Jacob Collier fan, it's a no-brainer. You got to go to a show. If you're on the fence about Jacob Collier, go to a show. It might just tip the scales for you, and get ready to leave this world behind, because Jacob will murder you with his music, and you will enter a heavenly realm. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But it was incredible. He was literally feet away from me at some points. I got some awesome videos. Some of those are on my channel. You can watch those. Amazing experience. Highly recommend. And interestingly, Lindsay Lomas, who is one of his backup singers and guitarists, incredible musician, she went to my high school, or the high school that I went. In fact, I think we overlapped for like a year. She didn't go the full 4 years. She's only 1 year older than me. But I think only my freshman year we were there at the same time, and we never actually met. But it is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little Easter egg there. So that was very nice. That was a very fun show. And that's about it. Oh, my Charizard tattoo. That's the last thing I wanted to say. He is right there, just flying out into the world. But that is not why we're here. I know why you're here. We're talking about everything is gonna drop. And here's the Logic session. I almost stopped the recording. That's not what I want. Boom. There we go. All right, and I mentioned this in the previous one. I won't go through all the details again, but these Logic sessions are going to look a little bit different because I had to make some adjustments so that the sample rate would transfer over, since I got a new interface that wasn't compatible, and all my older projects were in 44 kilohertz, and now I have to convert them all to 48, and it messes everything up if you use flex, like flex mode, so I have to bounce some tracks in place. But we still should be able to get into it. So let me put these headphones on, and we will get into it. Everything's Gonna Drop is the second track on the album Shoes to Fill, and it was actually the first one out of the album that I wrote and finished, basically. and I initially released it as a single, though I think I still did know at the time that it was a part of a bigger album. But I just wanted to go ahead and release it to the world, and so I did. And there's a music video attached to that. So yeah, let's jump right in. Let's first talk about what this song is exploring. It's basically a song about, well, juggling is a big motif, and that of course is in a physical and literal sense, because I rather enjoy juggling. But the sense of like juggling multiple things, multiple hobbies, being a jack of all trades, and sort of the pros and cons that come with that. So we will delve into that as we go. Early concept for this song. I do have some voice memos, as I do often when I write songs. I was referring it to as juggling, juggle. All these voice memos have the title juggling in them, because that was, like, I guess the early title of this song was something to do with juggling. So this is the very first, I guess, beta idea of this song. I'll play it
So I'm thinking it's like 4/4, but there's a juggling, like three, like triplet rhythm, like the whole time.
That's just me just talking stupid. So here's an idea. So I'll just record like little 15, 20-second bits like that. Here's another one. Just me just fiddling around on the guitar. Yeah. And there's a lot of those, but I will do that. I'll just be like, hey, this is easier than like writing something down or whatever. Just pull out my phone, go to voice memos, and blah, 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 blah. I'll do that when I'm walking from class to class, like when I'm in college, or just wherever I am, I'll do that. And that really helps. And sometimes I'll discover old gems that I never did anything with, and I'll be able to dust them off and see what I can do. But enough of that. A lot of those concepts made it into this song. So we have this underlying thing. In fact, that's how the song opens. You fade in. What's going on here? So we've got this. And I think this follows the metronome, roughly. Yeah. So we do have that triplet always going t. And like that's not necessarily what juggling sounds like, the tempo necessarily, I don't know, but it's just the idea of juggling. So that actually I think was probably legitimately, I was just probably slapping the beanbag like a juggling bag in front of the mic to get a really firm sound, and that is panned very hard left and right, so it you kind of feel it like in the back of your head. And then we've got jingles here, which I think was probably the Jacob Collier Crocs, funny enough. That's just adding a little bit to it. And then the last bit of percussion that sort of that pervades throughout the song is, I think, right here, which I do believe that was our good friend the mandolin, just to get that nice little muted string sound. I like to do that, you may have noticed. And while we're on this train of thought, I think that's also the mandolin. Just a little E and a B right there. Just a little chime comes in every now and then. And that's about it. Those rhythms there, they last throughout the entire song, with the exception of this. Towards the end of the song, we now have 6 instead of just 3, and that's again, it's sort of stretching the analogy. Juggling is never going to sound like that, but you'd be throwing them really fast, but it's just the intensity of it. It's like, oh, we're juggling more and more and more things, and they're all going to drop. That's sort of what I was going for. But that is that. Now let us move into a more melodious place. We have that as an intro, adding and adding and adding and adding, and then the guitar comes in. And the bass. So initially I didn't have this. I just had the guitar and the bass. And the guitar is honestly a pretty simple part. You might have noticed my guitar back there. I'd be a little concerned if you didn't. And I'll whip that out in a sec and show you actually what this stuff is, but it's pretty simple. That's the sort of rhythm I went with for most of the song. Bass line for now is kind of just going along with that. And this, of course, is my U bass. This is before I actually got that full-size bass back there, which I use for most things now, though I still do like the U bass. So, and I was like, and I could have left it at that, and I was like, I feel like it needs a little something. So I added a little bit of pyramiding, as Jacob would say. So there you go. Just kind of get off that chord real quick. I forgot to mention this. As far as reverb goes, this song is pretty dry. That's not the right thing. I kind of left it. It's probably snare chamber. Not a ton of reverb, which kind of contributes to that more confined space. I didn't want it to get too muddy. There's a lot going on, so there you have that. And then more pyramiding. A little bit of movement there. Again, I'm sorry, I can't actually... You can see how many regions are contributing to that down here. I can't actually isolate them because of the sample rate problem, so I had to bounce them all to one track. Some of them are divided later on, but I'll just have to play you it as a package. And so that's that. I just added a little bit of...
Picked up a red ball.
Yeah. First little riff here. Yeah. So my philosophy for the bass line on this one, there's a couple riffs that I really like, and most of it is just kind of going along with the chord progression. I actually just recorded straight through. I'm not a great bass player. I can hear things in my head, and so that's exactly what I kind of just took the bass. I recorded straight through just a track, like super dirty, just like not even the right notes, not even close, but like the rhythms that I wanted, the sort of groove and the feel of the bass line. I just kind of like played around on the strings, and a couple of those moments actually stuck, and I was like, okay, the notes are horrible, but the rhythm and the feel are exactly right. That's what I want. And so then I figured out what the notes should be, learned the actual part, recorded it, and then forgot about it 5 minutes later. That's my MO with the bass lines. So I'll show you exactly where those moments are. But before I move any further, I will go ahead and get my guitar. Let me go back to full screen. Here we go. Boom. I'm sorry about the state of my room also. We just got back from a trip to Michigan, and we haven't fully put everything in its rightful place. So be it. But let me back up a little bit. Here's my guitar, my lovely Gibson. Has not been played in a minute. My calluses are all but gone, but we will power through. So again, very simple. You could probably just figure this out, but I really like playing around with that progression there. Again, it's just the chord, the shape of an E chord, E major, and then you've got your 4, 5 with the sus, and then back to 1. Basically, all it is for the most part. And you go up here, and then not right. Right? And then for the chorus, wish I had a favorite color. And then here's the only difference. There's like your major 2 chord. But I'm not. I think I. Yeah. And that's it for the verse and the chorus. And then there's a couple different moments. As you call this a pre-chorus. The great turns to greater. It's too late to stop. Basically just alternating between these two. A great turns to greater. It's too late to stop. But sooner or later, everything. Just move the shape up. Move it up to again. Move it up to again. It's kind of a squeeze here, but yeah. And I'll talk more about that progression and why I love it later, but I'm just showing you the shapes now. Yep. And then what's left? Yeah, juggle every ball I see, so toss them to me. That's the only other weird part here. So I start on the 4. Juggle every, and I do it 2 different ways. I couldn't decide between these two, and I was like, you know what? There's 2 choruses. I'll do it 2 different ways. So we have the melody is I'm gonna juggle every ball I seize. Da-da-dee-dee. So we got I was hearing in my mind a chromatic descent. So da-da-da-da-da-da. I wanted there to be a da-da-da-da-da-da, but also a da-da-da, like a juggle every ball I see. So that's what I did for one of them. There's a chromatic thing. I can't remember which one's first. So all I'm moving is this first finger down. Move the whole shape. Move the whole shape again. So... Oop. Yeah, you get that nice, like... I think that part's the same for both of them. But then the other one, rather than chromatic, you're expanding the whole shape down. So, and then you condense it again. So, juggle every ball I see. Nope, sorry. Juggle every ball I see. And then you bring it back out again. So, juggle every ball I see. It's been a minute since I played that. But that's that. And that's the whole song. It just cycles through that. Pretty cool stuff. And not too complicated. You could learn it yourself. Tuck my guitar back in. Ah, you silly camera. Okay, I think we're... Nope. Are you doing this to me again? You're getting a really close-up of my fingers. I wouldn't prefer it that way, but sometimes in life... There we go. And we return to our session. So, we've gone over all the guitar stuff. Don't really need to tap into that too much more.
With poise and grace.
Yeah, this line right here.
Picked up a red ball with poise and grace.
It's poise and grace. On my first pass through this song, it sounded like I was saying poison grace. Poison grace. And I was like, that just won't do. So I made sure to hit the D really. Poise and grace. Little shadow vowel for you.
Made sure it would never fall. I could toss just this one for the rest of my days, but that green one sure looks fun.
Yeah, so there's your first verse there. Pretty simple bass line, just following the chords. And then I added this little moment in here. Hello? Oh.
It looks fun.
So it's just sort of like just a little jumble of different riffs, kind of gospel inspired. I don't know, maybe.
It looks fun.
So you got different sides of your voice. It looks fun, and then you got yes over here, and then I got a little run, pentatonic run. Ooh yeah, something like that, and then it all sort of melts together. Again, I could have left that out. It just feels so lonely, doesn't it? So I was like, let me add some riffs in there. The background vocals are a little sparse, but where they come in, they come in.
Curiosity grew. I reach out my hand. Surely I can handle two.
So here's where we're starting to get a little wilder with the bass line here. Let me show you what I got. There we go. So yeah, boom, ba-dum, ka-dum, dum, ba-da-dum. I'm just getting again, like the notes. Even when I'm singing them, I'm like, man, sometimes I can't hit them. But like it's the groove that really matters the most. I can figure out the notes later, and so yeah, that's what I did here. And I like this part because dum da 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 da. This like progression here.
Too easy.
From there, that chord, easy, you could, like we did before, you could go right back to the 1, da, da, dum, but we don't, we go back to the 4.
Easy. Great turns.
Kind of subverts your expectations there, into the pre-chorus, here we go.
Great turns to greater. It's too late to stop. But sooner or later, everything's gonna drop.
Yep. And the reason I like this so much, this is one of the first parts of this song that I heard in my head, because it's sort of just building and building and building, getting higher and higher, and there's one moment that I really like.
Stop. But sooner or later, everything's gonna drop.
You kind of expect it to just keep doing that. You could have just done it again, the 5, the 4, and the 5, and the 4, and the 5, but we don't. Instead, we go up a half step to that C major chord, which is like the flat 6 major of the flat 6, flat 7, 1 progression that I like so much. So it kind of just it's a little surprise for you, and so that's what I was kind of hearing. And you're already up to the melody note, or the tonic in the melody, except you're singing the 3rd of that C chord, which is really cool. You're singing an E in the melody, but you're playing a C chord. And then
Everything's gonna drop.
when you go back down to the E, now we're actually playing the E major chord, that's your home. So I really like that. Bass line here is pretty groovin'.
Add a yellow and
Let me go here. Let's see. Yeah. So again, like when I played through my rough thing, this was one moment where I was like, I guess I'll play the guitar part too. I knew I kind of wanted there to be a little break there. Yeah, like a lot of syncopation, and like I was not playing the right notes at all, but I had that rhythm when I was playing through it, my rough scratch, and then I landed on the notes later. But I really like that little bass moment in there. And then once we land on drop, we have some more gospel sort of riffs. And then we get some more background vocals. But yeah, we have the whoa, whoa, whoa. Harmonized 3 ways. Kind of inspired by like the Moon River, like horrible. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just like descending, cascading triads almost. And so that's what we got. And then the bass line again dips out for a moment and then comes in for this. And I really like how I land on the 4th here. Because we're playing the dominant chord, we're playing the 5 chord, da da da, in the guitar part. That's our like, right? That's our 5 chord. So we expect our bass to land on that note, but we don't. So we've kind of got a 5/7 now, but the bass line is playing that 7, and I kind of like that clash there. It's a little surprise, but yeah, we land on the 4th note.
Wish I had a favorite color.
And I knew I needed some background vocals here. So
I wish I had a favorite color. Maybe then I'd be content with what I've got. But I'm not. I gotta juggle every ball.
well, let's take a break for a sec because that's some more crazy harmonies. But yeah, for that it's just doubled the octave. I really like doing that. It's pretty fun.
Then I'd be content with what I've got.
We got our surprise chord.
But I'm not.
There's another. We're playing ba 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 ba. So the bass is again playing I guess the seventh in that chord. So you have like a third inversion dominant 7 chord. One of my favorites.
I gotta juggle every ball I see, so toss 'em to me.
So there's our guitar moment I was talking about. Which one is it? Is it the chromatic one? Yeah, so that's the chromatic one. Yeah, and then the bass line. What are you doing? Yeah, so I managed to squeeze a fast bass line in there, but here we have.
Juggle every ball I see, so toss 'em to me. Juggle every ball I see.
Yeah.
I gotta juggle every ball I see, so
Yeah, so I'm kind of just following what works with the guitar part, with those harmonies there.
all I see, so toss 'em to me.
Toss him to me. I'm a big fan for chromatic movement. It's truly undefeatable.
Juggle every ball I see.
Pretty funky.
Toss 'em to me. Juggle every ball I see.
And then that brings us right into our next verse, but now we have a little bit more backing to it.
Orange, blue, purple, and pink, an orbit of blending hues.
Yes. So now we got some
Orange, blue, purple, and pink, an orbit of
more fun bass stuff. Yes, a little more sparse. Kind of like that.
blue,
Just comes in and out.
purple, and pink, an orbit of blending hues. Each whizzes past before I can think, and the day melts away so fast.
Yeah, so. Yeah, just played around with that. Kind of made sense. Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah, kind of, And the bass line's just going off, Yep. And that brings us to our melodica solo. And I think this is just the chord progression of the verse. And here's our melodica solo. I'll just go ahead and play it for you. Yeah. So the interesting thing here is I actually used a different reverb for this melodica solo. You might notice it sounds more spacious, almost like it's in a bigger room. That was an intentional choice. I liked the feeling that the melodica was almost a little more distant. You could take that metaphorically however you wanted, but I like that. I like the very tight, small space of the rest of it, and then the melodica being a little bit more. there's the other one. And that chromatic movement there allowed me to do this. Yeah. Na, 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 sort of da, 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 mm. Yeah. Not much to say about that. I'm sure I just sort of came up with that on the fly after a couple playthroughs of each part. I was like, yeah, kind of landed on that. Probably Frankensteined it, as I do.
Doomed to forever reinvent the wheel.
So here we do have some backup vocals, but it's not up the octave. It's just the same octave. Where are you? Here you are.
I take to my heels, doomed to forever reinvent the wheel.
And I did that because I wanted it to be a big moment when I come in with all of these background vocals. This is one of my favorite moments in here, and here's what it sounds like.
Walk new ground, but I know I'll never know how to break it.
I really like those harmonies there. Again, it's pretty simple. It's just like 3 notes. Just, what makes sense with those chords. But I know I'll never know. Can I play just that?
Walk new ground, but
No, it looks like they're all mixed.
I know I'll never know.
Oh yeah, those are just doing
Walk new ground, but
just the melody, and then
walk new ground, but I know I'll never know how to break it.
yeah, it kind of just sounds pretty nice. I like those harmonies there. And that's also one of my favorite lines in the song, I mean, I struggle with lyrics that are like clever without being too clever or cerebral, but I really like the walking new ground. I'm going to walk new ground in my life. I'm going to see new things and hear new things, but I'll never know how to break it. And what I mean by that is like breaking new ground. Like I'm going to walk new ground that other people have like discovered and pioneered, but I feel like sometimes one of the things of this song is like I'm never going to be doing anything new that hasn't been done before. That is a legitimate thought, I'm sure a lot of people have, is like, I'm just sort of treading all over other people's work or benefiting from it without ever contributing anything novel or new. So breaking new ground, that's kind of what I meant there.
Walk new ground, but I know I'll never know.
And the bass line is going along with that. Yeah, it's kind of got a little delay in there, kind of like a give. Not quite, on the nose or on the line.
Walk new ground, but I know I'll never know how to break it. Great
And we have more harmony here.
great turns to greater. It's too late to stop, but sooner or later everything's gonna drop. But for now I'll just keep juggling. I wish
Yeah, just another little insert there.
sooner or later everything's
Bass line's a little different this time. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll play that with the guitar so you can get a feel for like the groove. Yeah, a lot of syncopation. Bum 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 ba-dum. I like that. That was sort of what I was going for with all of these moments. Just putting a boom where a strong emphasis where you may not expect.
For now I'll just keep juggling. I wish I had a favorite color. Maybe then I'd be content with what I've got.
Pretty similar throughout this chorus. I do hold the note got out a little bit longer. Last time was with what I've got a little flat. And this time I held it out.
Content with what I've got, but I'm not.
Just a little riff there.
I gotta juggle every ball I see, so toss 'em to me.
Which one did I do? did the second one there. And here's what those harmonies sound like.
I gotta juggle every ball I see, so toss 'em to me. Juggle every ball I see.
Yeah. This bass moment's pretty cool. Yeah. Just nasty, you know. Oops.
See, so toss 'em to me. Juggle every ball I see. Great turns,
And here's the final build up. Here's what we have here.
great turns to greater. It's too late to stop, but sooner or later, everything's gone up.
Yep. What are y'all doing? What are you doing? Oh. I guess I forgot that was in there. What do you know?
Great turns to greater. It's too late to stop.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted the sense of building and building and building and building. Baseline. And of course, I leave you hanging. I don't say drop. Instead, I give you this. Which, if you can believe it, was me recording myself dropping some juggling balls. And that's that. And I even took the extra effort of not making them all at the same time, because when you drop a bunch of juggling balls, they're not going to hit the floor at the exact same time. And so I was like, yeah, I'll stagger them a little bit. And so that's what you get. And so all together, of course, you know, just you know, it's tease, and they all dropped at the end. And what was I going to say? Sooner or later they were going to do it. It is now either sooner or later. I don't know. And looks like I did not put the lyrics here. Let's remedy that. Oops. I probably... I guess there's nothing in there that's incriminating. Let me just grab them real quick. Let's see here. Lyrics. Shoes to fill. Oh, look, it's the first one in here. And it's gonna put it in here really weird, like it does. But that's fine. Notepad. Boom. Let's make it white for your viewing pleasure. There we go. That's good enough. And I forget my stupid face is always covering it. So I'll keep it all up here. Yeah, so let's talk about these lyrics for a minute. I think we've pretty much exhausted ourselves on the music part. So, yeah, I mean, the motif here, of course, is that I'm starting with one ball. You can think of this as like a hobby or something I'm getting into, because it's a very real thing for me. It's like, and there's other songs also in this album. The whole thing is about sort of stretching yourself thin or like living up to expectation. Again, the pros and cons that come with trying to be a jack of all trades. You know, all these instruments I'm interested in, all these other hobbies that don't necessarily have synergy with each other. Some of them you do, but a lot of them it's like, you know, I am putting a lot of eggs in a lot of different baskets. Again, there's pros and cons to that. I've kind of long since accepted that I'm never going to be like an expert in really anything, because there's just so many things that I'm interested in. It's like, if I had spent all the time in the world, like all the time I spent on flute, all the time I spent on guitar or juggling or playing video games or researching about cameras or, you know, cinematography, if I decided to spend all of that time on just piano, maybe I could be like a really good piano player. But I have decided not to do that. And it's not to say it's too late to make one thing my focus, but I don't know, something about just my personality says I probably won't ever do that. I'd rather be into a lot of different things. And it's kind of a sobering thing that, like, man, I'm never gonna, there's just not enough time in the day to dedicate like enough time to all of these things to be as good as maybe I want to be or as other people. But you have to remind yourself, like, it takes all types of people to make the world go round. You don't have to compete with anybody else, really. Maybe in some cases, just you do in life, but on a personal level, just on an everyday level, you don't have to. Uh, so, anyways, that's my TED talk for the day. So start with a red ball, picking up a yellow. Oh, look, it's enticing. It's you want to pick up a new hobby. It's fun, but I've already got this one hobby, but I can handle this, and great turns to greater. You're juggling all these balls. And then here we go. My dad has talked to me about this song, and he says he really likes this line here. I wish I had a favorite color. Again, it's like I struggle with like powerful analogies without it kind of just being like cheesy or whatever. But I don't know. I do kind of like this one. It's like it's very simple, but it's powerful. I wish I had a favorite color. I mean, I honestly don't know if I do at this point, like literally a favorite color, but also like so many things. If you ask me what's my favorite thing to do and my favorite hobby, like I don't know. That's kind of why I can't just pick one thing. It's because like everything just entices me so much, and I like to get really involved with the things that I do. And maybe I'd be content with like one or two things, but no, I'm not. I've got to juggle every ball I see, and it's kind of always been that way. I can look back at old videos and voice memos and notes that I would do, and I was like, man, like I've actually had to make the decision to not allow certain things into my life because I knew I would get hooked and I would want to do all the things. Like a silly example, I did not get the newest Animal Crossing back in 2020 when there was nothing to do in quarantine, but I was like, look, I could use this time to spend on like all these hobbies and nurture them and get into something, or I could like spend 400 hours on Animal Crossing like I knew I would do. I knew I would get so into it. And so I chose not to get it, even though all my siblings were playing it, and I did feel left out at times, but I was like, no. And so I instead got into painting, and that's been since like a really fun hobby of mine that I've done. Every now and again I'll pull out the paints. It's just such an ordeal, and I'm rambling, but that's all right. That's what we're here for. There's no time limit here, except the one that I impose. What was I even saying? Yeah, so I got into painting instead. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with if I had played the video game. It's like, it's the opportunity cost. You shouldn't feel guilty about the things that you enjoy. Sometimes you just gotta, life's too short to be doing stuff you hate if you don't have to. Sometimes you do have to. But that's that. Orange, blue, purple, pink, orbited blending hues. This one's just a more like word paintery, or just like a more a less concrete chorus or verse. It's just like, what do you call it? Yeah, I'm just referencing all these colors, kind of just emphasizing the fact that like we're getting more and more out there, like more and more overwhelmed by all of these things. Like now it is starting to get kind of crazy. And then the day melts away so fast. Again, that's something that I experience all the time. And the older I get, the more it applies. But like, man, does the time fly. I'm already like 4 semesters in and only 3 semesters left of college, of my undergraduate degree, of course. I don't know if I'll do any after that at some point. And it feels like I just could have started yesterday. It's really crazy. So if you learn nothing else from this video, like savor the time you've got for sure. But even more so with like all of the things, I'll plan out for the day. Oh, today I'm going to do this and this and that. Record something, edit something, practice juggling, practice piano, guitar. Guys, there's just not enough time for all that. There really isn't. And when I discover how to dilate time, I'll let you know, and we'll be rich together. Take to my heels. Doomed to Forever, I've already kind of talked about this. Reinventing the wheel, walk new ground, but can't break it. And I do rather like that line. But that's it. Again, lyrics I feel like are pretty straightforward. But a couple analogies that I really like and some wordplay. So I think this does work pretty well as like a single because it's self-sufficient, self-contained. I don't think it needs to be a part of that greater narrative to work, but it does fit right in. And I think from the beginning, I sort of wrote this song as a gateway into this the headspace of this new album. So I think from the beginning, I had in mind that this was going to be a part of the album. It wasn't like I wrote it and then I was like, oh, this would work great in this album. No, I think this was the conception of the album was this song, which is pretty cool. But it wasn't the opener. It was just the second song because I think Had It, which we already covered, that just works really well as a hook. That gets you into the album. It's just such a bop that was the intro. That was like the opening song. But this was second. I think Right Where It Belongs. And that's about all I got for the song, guys. So let me come back so you can see everything. You can't see, well, I guess you can see my snowman a little bit. I did not build him up for this video. I'm sorry. My desk is a bit of a mess, as you might observe. It's even more of a mess than you can see. There's a lot of stuff back here. I'm planning some videos and I need these things on my desk, but it's a little overwhelming. But oh well. Got a lot of plans for upcoming videos this summer. Of course, also this series, I'm going to try and get through all these songs pretty soon. What's the next track? I don't even remember. We'll figure it out together. But thank you for watching this. And I got a confession to make since you've... Excuse me. That was it. No. Since you've made it this far, I'll let you in on something. I really am getting sick of this. By this, I mean my hair. Gosh, it's really tough right now because I feel like I might regret or be sad if I cut it. But I'm looking back at old pictures of like the last good haircut I had, which has been a couple years, and I'm like, man, it's so much easier to manage, and I just miss being able to style my hair with like some little bit of product and all that, and it looks pretty cool, and I don't know. And I'm just curious to see what it looks like since my face has kind of changed since the last short haircut I had. But I don't know. So maybe like when you see me in a little bit, there might be some changes in this region. But I'm going to try to keep it around. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I've been growing it for over 2 years at this point. So, yeah, but it's hair, you know. It's going to come and go and all that. But I just wanted to throw that out there just so you're not, you don't brown your trousers in shock if that does come to pass. But time will tell. And that's about all I got for you. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you when I see you. Or you'll see me when you see me. Or, however that works.